RV life looks simple until one small oversight turns into a real problem. Something breaks, something leaks, or something quits right when you need it most. The frustrating part is that a lot of RV bad luck is actually preventable, and it usually comes down to a few habits people don't even realize they're doing. So in this video, we're going through 30 things to never do in your RV. Fast, clear, and practical. Plus one thing you should do every single time that makes everything else easier to avoid. Whether you're towing a travel trailer, running a fifth wheel, or driving a motorhome, these are the kinds of tips that keep trips smoother, gear working longer, and repair bills lower. Number 1. Overload the RV. Going over your weight limits is one of the fastest ways to turn a normal trip into a tire, brake, or suspension problem. Every RV has ratings that matter. GVWR, the most the RV is allowed to weigh fully loaded. GAWR, the most each axle is allowed to carry. And cargo carrying capacity, how much stuff you can add. Don't guess. Load the RV the way you actually travel and weigh it, ideally with separate axle weights. Keep heavy gear low and close to the axles, not stacked high or all the way in the back. If you tow a trailer, tongue weight matters too, because too light can cause sway, and too heavy can overload the rear axle of the tow vehicle. Once weight is handled, the next weak link is usually the tires. Number 2. Ignore tire pressure and age. Tire problems don't always start with a blowout. They start with heat, underinflation, and old rubber. Check tire pressure cold before you drive, and don't rely on a quick glance. Many RV tires need higher pressure than car tires, and the correct pressure depends on how much weight the tire is carrying. If you can, use the tire maker's load and inflation chart for your exact tire model. Also check the DOT date code on the sidewall, because RV tires can age out, even if the tread looks fine. Sun and sitting still are hard on tires, so cover them when parked and look for cracks, bulges, or uneven wear. A TPMS can help catch a slow leak early, but it's not a substitute for inspections. And once you're looking at tires, it makes sense to talk about the hardware holding them on. Number 3. Skip lug nut torque checks. Lug nuts can loosen after a wheel is removed, after new wheels are installed, or after a tire shop uses an impact gun. That's why many RV and trailer makers recommend retorquing after the first 50 to 100 miles, and then checking at regular intervals. Use a torquey wrench and follow the correct torque spec for your wheels and studs, not a random number from the internet. Tighten in a star pattern so the wheel seats evenly. If you see rust trails, shiny metal dust, or a wheel that doesn't sit flat, stop and get it checked before you keep rolling. Wheels are only part of the towing system, so the next never is about the connection between tow vehicle and trailer. Number 4. Tow without a full hitch check. A hitch setup that's almost right is still wrong. Before you move, confirm the coupler is fully seated on the ball, the latch is locked, and a safety pin or lock is in place. Cross the safety chains under the coupler so they can help cradle the tongue if something fails, and make sure the chains have enough slack for turns but won't drag. Check the breakaway cable. It should be connected to the tow vehicle, not to the chains, and routed so it can pull straight if needed. If you use a weight distribution hitch, confirm the bars are properly tensioned and the brackets are secure. For fifth wheels, make sure the jaws are fully wrapped around the kingpin and do a simple tug test in a safe area. After the hitch is right, the next thing that needs a quick verification is braking. Number 5. Forget to test trailer brakes and lights. You can have perfect tires and a perfect hitch and still be unsafe if the trailer brakes aren't working. Before you hit higher speeds, test the brake controller at low speed, where it's safe. You should feel the trailer braking smoothly without locking up. Adjust gain for road conditions and trailer weight, because a set it once number doesn't fit every trip. Also confirm all lights, running lights, brake lights, and turn signals. Trailer wiring issues are common, especially with corrosion or a weak ground, so don't assume it's fine because it worked last month. If your breakaway battery is old, charge and test it, because it's part of the braking system too. Once the rig can stop safely, the next issue is stability and leveling, where people often use the wrong tools. Number 6. Level the RV the wrong way. Stabilizer jacks are for stabilizing, not for lifting and leveling. On many trailers, you level side to side with leveling blocks under the tires, then level front to back with the tongue jack, and only then drop stabilizers to reduce movement. On motorhomes with leveling jacks, follow the maker's instructions and don't lift the tires off the ground unless the manual specifically allows it. Always chalk wheels before unhitching and before walking around outside, because even a small slope can move an RV. Proper leveling also protects appliances like absorption fridges, helps doors close correctly, and keeps slides operating smoothly. Speaking of slides and movement, the inside of the RV needs to be ready for travel too. Number 7. Travel with loose items inside. Even if you drive carefully, the RV is still shaking and bouncing, and anything that can move will eventually move. Secure heavy items low and close to the center, and latch every cabinet and drawer. Put countertop gear away, including coffee makers, air fryers, and anything glass. Lock the fridge and pantry, secure the shower door, and make sure TVS monitors or table legs are locked in their travel position. If you carry tools or batteries inside, strap them down so they can't become a projectile during a hard stop. Then do a quick look for things that like to fall: remote controls, cooking oil, and bottles in the bathroom. Once the inside is travel ready, the outside walk around becomes the next never skip. Number 8, drive off with something still out. This mistake is more common than people think because it happens during routine moments, leaving a campground, stopping for fuel, or pulling out of a rest area. Do a full walk around before you move. Confirm steps are up, leveling blocks are picked up, roof vents are closed, antennas are down, windows are latched, and storage doors are shut. Check that the sewer hose is disconnected and capped, and that the water hose and power cord are stored properly. If you have slide outs, confirm they're fully in and the seals look even. This simple walk around is also the moment to decide whether you should leave the awning out, because you usually shouldn't. Number 9, leave the awning out unattended. Awnings look sturdy until a gust hits at the wrong angle. Wind can bend arms, rip fabric, and damage the side of the RV. And it can happen fast even on a day that seems calm. If you're going for a walk, heading to the store, or turning in for the night, retract the awning. If rain is coming, don't rely on it'll run off, because water can pool and add weight. Some people use tie-downs, but tie-downs can also transfer wind force into the awning hardware, so they're not a guarantee. Treat the awning like a temporary shade, not a permanent roof. With the outside secured, slide-outs are the next area where small habits prevent expensive damage. Number 10. Extend slides. Without checking clearance. Slides need space outside and inside. Outside, watch for trees, posts, power pedestals, and uneven ground that changes the RV's angle. Inside, check for chairs, cabinet doors, and items on the floor that could jam the slide. Run slides only when you have steady power, because low voltage or weak batteries can slow motors and strain components. If the slide sounds different, binds, or stops, don't force it. Stop and troubleshoot, because forcing can damage gears, seals, and alignment. Keep slide seals clean, and use the lubricant recommended by the manufacturer, not a random spray. Once slides are safe, the biggest silent destroyer of RVs is water intrusion, so the roof needs attention. Number 11. Ignore roof and seal maintenance. Most RV water damage starts small: a cracked seal around a vent, a loose ladder mount, or an old seam that dried out. Inspect the roof a couple of times a year and after major storms or long highway trips. Look at sealant around vents, skylights, antennas, and roof edges. Clean dirt off so you can actually see problems, and use a sealant that's compatible with your roof material. Silicone is often a bad choice on RV roofs, because it doesn't always adhere well long-term and can make future repairs harder. Catching a tiny gap early is the difference between a quick reseal and a major rebuild. After the roof, the next system where people cause damage without realizing it is the water heater. Number 12. Turn on the water heater dry. This one can get expensive quickly. If the water heater tank isn't full and you turn on electric heat, the heating element can burn out. Before you power the heater, make sure the tank is full by opening a hot faucet until the air spits out and you get a steady stream. Know your bypass valves especially after winterizing, because it's easy to accidentally leave the heater bypassed and then wonder why it won't work. Flush the tank occasionally to remove sediment. If you have a suburban-style water heater, it uses an anode rod that sacrifices itself to protect the tank. Replace it when it's mostly eaten away. With hot water covered, fresh water quality is the next place where out of sight can turn into not good. Number 13. Let fresh water sit for months. Fresh tanks and water lines are food safe, but they're not magic. If water sits warm for a long time, it can develop unpleasant taste and odor, and biofilm can build up in lines. Sanitize the system periodically, especially after storage, by using a properly measured bleach solution, circulating it through faucets, letting it sit for a set time, and flushing until the smell is gone. Use a drinking water-safe hose for filling, keep the hose ends clean, and don't let the hose end touch the ground. If you use filters, change them on schedule, because an old filter can make water worse, not better. Water handling also includes pressure, because too much pressure is a common way to create leaks. Number 14. Hook up to city water. Without a regulator. Campground water pressure can be all over the place, and high pressure can blow fittings, crack housings, or create slow leaks that you won't notice until damage spreads. Use a quality pressure regulator, and, ideally, a small pressure gauge so you can see what's happening. Many RVERs aim for a comfortable range around 40 to 50 pounds per square inch, but follow your RV's recommendations. Also check your hose washers and quick connects, because tiny leaks at the connection can drip into compartments and cause problems over time. Once your fresh water is controlled, the next issue is what happens after that water goes down the drain, especially with the black tank. Number 15. Leave the black tank valve open at full hookups. It feels convenient to leave the black valve open and let it drain, but that usually backfires. Liquids run out and solids stay behind, creating the classic pyramid plug that's hard to remove and makes sensors read wrong. The better habit is keeping the black valve closed until the tank is at least half to 2/3 full, so you have enough liquid to carry waste out in a strong dump. Always start with water in the black tank, and after dumping, add a few gallons back in so solids don't dry out on the bottom. Once you're dumping correctly, the order and method matter too. Number 16. Dump tanks in the wrong order. The usual order is black first, then gray. Black water is the dirtiest, so you dump it first, and then gray water helps rinse the hose. Use a clear elbow if you can, because it lets you see when the flow is done and helps you catch issues early. Open the black valve slowly at first to reduce surging. If you have a built-in black tank flush, use it carefully and stay with it. Never walk away, because mistakes can cause overfilling. When you finish, close valves completely, cap everything securely, and store the hose so it can drain and dry as much as possible. Dumping habits also depend on what you put into the system, which brings up a big never. Number 17. Flush anything that isn't meant for RV plumbing. RV toilets and tank systems are simple, and they don't like surprises. Don't flush wipes, even if the package says flushable, and don't flush paper towels, feminine products, or anything plastic. Stick to RV-safe toilet paper, and use enough water to move solids into the tank. In the kitchen, avoid sending grease down the drain, because it coats pipes and traps odors. Use strainers to catch food bits, and dump solids into the trash. Keeping the system clean also means being careful with chemicals, because harsh products can damage seals and create dangerous reactions. Number 18. Dump random chemicals into tanks and drains. Household drain openers can be too aggressive for RV plumbing, and they don't solve the real problem in a holding tank system anyway. Strong chemicals can damage rubber seals, and mixing cleaners can create harmful fumes, especially in a closed space. If you need odor control or breakdown help, use RV-specific treatments and follow the label. If you're dealing with grease in the kitchen line, hot water and dish soap used consistently is often a safer approach than harsh chemicals. For sensor issues, tank cleaning methods like thorough rinsing and proper dumping habits usually do more than pouring stronger products in. After water and waste, the next system that demands respect is propane. Number 19. Treat propane. Like no big deal. Propane is safe when the system is maintained, but it needs basic rules. Turn off propane appliances when fueling. Gas stations are not the place for open flames. Learn where your propane shutoff is and how to access it quickly. Check hoses and fittings periodically, and if you ever suspect a leak, don't ignore it. Shut things down and get it inspected. Keep propane cylinders secured and upright, and don't store spare cylinders inside the RV. Also remember that some tunnels, ferries, and certain facilities have rules about propane being turned off. Follow posted signs and local requirements. Once propane is handled, ventilation and airflow become the next never, especially around vents and appliances. Number 20. Block appliance vents and exhaust paths. RV appliances need proper airflow to work safely and efficiently. The fridge vents, furnace exhaust, and water heater access areas are not storage spaces. Don't pack gear against exterior vents, and keep vent covers and screens clean, because dust and insect nests can reduce airflow. If you use aftermarket vent screens, clean them regularly so they don't become a blockage. Also, keep the area around exhaust outlets clear. You don't want hot exhaust aimed at a tarp, tall grass, or anything that can melt or burn. Good airflow matters even more when you run a generator, which has its own set of never do this rules. Number 21. Run the generator without basic checks. Generators work hard, and most problems come from lack of simple maintenance. Check oil level before longer runs, follow service intervals, and don't overload it with more appliances than it can handle. Make sure exhaust is directed away from people and away from open windows or roof vents, because fumes can drift. Never run a generator in an enclosed area or where exhaust can build up. If the generator sits for long periods, run it under load occasionally, so fuel doesn't gum things up, and so internal parts stay lubricated. A generator is helpful, but safety alarms are what protect you when conditions change, so don't neglect them. Number 22. Ignore your safety detectors. RVs need working smoke, carbon monoxide, and propane alarms. Test them regularly, replace batteries on schedule, and pay attention to expiration dates, because many alarms have a limited service life. Keep a charged fire extinguisher that's rated for typical RV risks, and place it where you can reach it quickly, not buried under gear. Also know where emergency exits are and keep them clear, including egress windows. These are simple habits, but they matter most when something happens fast. Electrical safety is the next area where people get confident too quickly, especially at campground pedestals. Number 23. Plug in without power protection. Campground power can be wired incorrectly, have loose connections, or deliver voltage that's too low or too high. Low voltage is a big enemy of air conditioners because it forces them to draw more current and run hotter. A surge protector, or an EMS, electrical management system, can protect your RV by blocking unsafe power. Before plugging in, turn the pedestal breaker off, connect the cord firmly, then turn the breaker on. If your plug or outlet ever feels hot, that's a warning sign. Heat usually means resistance, and resistance leads to damage. Once you're thinking about safe power, the next never is using the wrong cords and adapters. Number 24. Use household extension cords for RV loads. Many RV electrical problems are caused by cords that aren't built for the amperage. A typical house extension cord can overheat when you try to run heavy RV loads like an air conditioner. For 30 amp service, you generally need a heavy RV cord, and if you must extend, an extension designed for 30 amps with the correct wire gauge. For 50 amp, it's even more demanding. Keep cord runs as short as possible. Fully uncoil cords so heat can dissipate, and avoid stacking multiple adapters unless you absolutely have to. Also be cautious with cheater setups that try to run big loads on a small outlet. If the breaker doesn't trip, the cord can still overheat. Stable power ties directly into battery health, which is another system people accidentally ruin. Number 25. Treat batteries like they don't need care. Batteries are not install and forget, and the right care depends on the type. Flooded lead-acid batteries need water level checks, clean terminals, and they hate being deeply discharged over and over. As a general habit, try not to run them too low before recharging. GM batteries are lower maintenance but still don't like deep, repeated discharge. Lithium batteries have great usable capacity, but they need a charger and converter setup that matches lithium charging profiles, and many need protection from charging in freezing temperatures. No matter the type, secure batteries firmly, keep connections tight, and consider a battery monitor so you're not guessing. When batteries are maintained, storage becomes easier too, because storage issues are often moisture issues. Number 26. Store the RV wet and sealed up. Moisture is persistent, and an RV is basically a sealed box with lots of seams. Before storage, dry the RV out, clean and dry the shower area, and don't put it away with damp towels, wet rugs, or a full trash can. Prop the fridge and freezer doors open so they don't grow odor and mildew. Use ventilation or a dehumidifier if your storage setup allows it, and check periodically for condensation, especially in cold or humid climates. Also protect entry points from pests and inspect for small leaks after heavy rain. Moisture control goes hand in hand with freeze protection because freezing water can destroy parts you can't even see. Number 27. Skip winterizing and freeze protection. If temperatures drop below freezing where you live or travel, you need a plan. Water expands when it freezes, and that can crack lines, fittings, valves, pumps, and even toilet parts. Proper winterizing usually means draining the system, bypassing the water heater, blowing out lines with air if you know the correct method, and slasher pumping RV-specific non-toxic antifreeze through the plumbing until it reaches all fixtures. Don't forget the shower, outside shower, toilet valve, and sink traps. Remove or protect water filters that can crack. If you store the RV, keep batteries maintained as well, because cold weather is hard on them. After winter and storage, roadworthiness checks matter again, especially for trailers, because running gear wears quietly. Number 28. Forget bearings, brakes, and suspension checks. Trailer wheel bearings need regular inspection and service because they carry a lot of load for long periods. If bearings run dry or get contaminated, they can overheat and fail. Brakes also need inspection for wear, proper adjustment on many electric brake setups, and clean wiring connections. Look over suspension parts like leaf springs, shackles, equalizers, and bushings, because worn parts can create poor handling and uneven tire wear. For motorhomes, don't ignore chassis maintenance. Engine oil, transmission service, coolant condition, belts, hoses, and brake fluid matter just as much as the house side. Once the RV is mechanically ready, route planning becomes the next major place where avoidable mistakes happen. Number 29. Drive without planning for height, weight, and road conditions. Know your true travel height, including roof AC and any antennas or accessories, and don't rely on a brochure number. Low bridges, tight tree canopies, and older gas station canopies can surprise you. Also consider weight limits on certain roads and bridges, and watch for steep grades that can overheat brakes if you push too hard downhill. Use a lower gear early on descents and keep speeds controlled rather than riding the brakes. Wind matters too. High-profile RVs react strongly to gusts, especially when passing trucks or crossing open areas. Plan fuel stops that fit your length and turning radius, and give yourself extra time so you're not forced into last-second decisions. Even with good planning, the final high-risk moment is often the simplest: backing into a spot. Number 30. Rush backing and campsite setup. Backing accidents usually happen at low speed, which is exactly why people drop their guard. Take it slow, use a spotter when possible, and agree on simple hand signals before you start moving. If you lose sight of the spotter, stop. Get out and look as many times as needed. There's no penalty for checking. Watch tail swing because the rear of the RV can swing wide and hit posts, trees, or other rigs. Don't assume a backup camera shows everything. Cameras distort distance and miss blind spots. When you arrive, chalk wheels before unhitching and before putting weight on jacks, and take a minute to confirm you're not blocking hookups or crowding the neighbor's space. After all these never-do items, the single best should-do is what keeps you consistent. Number 31. Use a checklist every time. The easiest way to avoid expensive mistakes is to stop relying on memory. Make a short, practical checklist for departure, arrival, dumping, and storage, and actually use it. Departure can include hitch pins, lights, steps, slides, vents, tire pressure, and a quick walk around. Arrival can include chocks, leveling steps, power connection sequence, and water pressure regulation. Dumping can include valve order, rinsing, and adding water back to the black tank. Add a simple maintenance log, even if it's just notes on your phone, so you track tire age, seal inspections, battery care, and service dates. A checklist doesn't slow you down. It keeps you from having to fix the same preventable problems over and over.